What's going on? What's going on, Film Fam? Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Chop Willie in the Morning, brought to you by Let the Film Speak. I am one of your hosts, Chop. Here with my main man, Willie Jack. Willie Jack, how you feeling this morning, man?
Man, I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I felt a little better, but it's championship Sunday, man. I'm still here talking about with my dog, man. So I'm feeling good, feeling great, man. I need some good football today to help lift my spirits, man. It's been a rough week for
Absolutely.
your boy.
Absolutely, man. I hope we get that, man. And I appreciate you for still toughing it out and
Yeah.
coming to hang with your boy and talk some football with your boy, because, of course, I need it, man. And you know I'm going to hold you down for sure. We apologize for the late start this morning, guys. We had some technical difficulties. But anybody that's in here, man, we appreciate y'all for joining on, hanging in there with us. We still going to have a great show for y'all, and we still going to kick that knowledge. I know how we going to do it, man. So we appreciate y'all for tapping in with us. And y'all know what it is today, man. It is the conference round championship preview, man. We got two big games today. We got a 2:00 and a 5:30 game today. Y'all know the four teams that are remaining. This is going to be this is going to tell the story of who goes to the Super Bowl in 2024, man. So we're going to see how these games play out today. We're definitely going to preview those. But of course, before we do any of that, we gotta go through the house rules, man. The house rules are the same as always. That's like, that's share, that's subscribe, you know what I'm saying, and hit that notification bell. Gotta ring that bell, you know what I'm saying. Become the newest member of the Film Fam. Holler at your partners, let them know what's going on when we in the building, you know what I mean. Make sure you touch base with all those guys so they can come hang out with you. And then also, be in the know. Be in the know of what me and Willie Jack got coming up and what we got going on. And I guarantee you, we will not let you down. News, Willie Jack. We got a little bit of news, man, and we're gonna have to
Mm-hmm.
touch over the head. You know what I'm saying? With a news double, man. We got two items for the same team, man. First piece of news we got the Eagles. They hire Kellen Moore, or looking to hire Kellen Moore as their new offensive coordinator going into the 2024 NFL season. And then also they try to shore up their DC spot. They also hire Vic Fangio, a DC defensive coordinator from the Miami Dolphins as of last year, man. So they make those two moves of in terms of situations we had questions about throughout the season. Anyway, Willie Jack, talk to me about these moves, man. What's your thoughts, man? Let's start OC. Let's go OC first, man.
Honestly, man, I'd say well, yeah, starting with the OC, I think clear upgrades on both, honestly, because for one, the bar was set so low this past season that you'd have had a hard time doing worse with with any just about anybody that came in there. But honestly, I like what we saw from Kellen Moore in his time in LA, especially the way it started. You know what I mean? Now, as they season wore on, the Chargers charged. Injuries started to pile up and toll up, and things happen. But I don't think that necessarily takes away from what he's done offensively in his league, and still in such a short time. He's a young guy. He spent a lot of years with the Cowboys as a depth quarterback before transitioning right over into.
Yeah.
It feels like he just damn near went right into OC from being the third string quarterback for all those years, because that's how well thought of and how young and sharp his offensive mind was, even as a player. And so this is a guy that's got a lot of pedigree. We know that it was shaping up, honestly, in Dallas, that he may have been the heir apparent to Jason Garrett before that all kind of fell apart. And then, of course, we know Zach. Old boy comes in there now. Forgive me, y'all. I'm sick a little bit, but old boy comes in there now. Things go a different way. He winds up in LA. But like I said, I definitely think that they definitely need some type of change of pace in Philly. They definitely need some type of spark. And I do like that from what we've seen from Kellen Moore, it his change of pace in offense is probably going to be drastic, to say the least, I would think, because one thing that there's been complaints about from the Dallas offense when he was running it, and then even still some of those complaints maybe serviced or followed a little bit to the Chargers. I don't think they were as loud, but the running game is definitely a hard secondary to a wide open passing attack, and then but the way in which that he'll have Dak pass, or like the schemes in place, I'm just curious to see how Jalen handles that, and then just how that offense grows as a whole. Like I said, making this kind of more so hard pivot towards what I expect we'll see from Kellen Moore versus what we have seen them doing with a very heavy RPO based offense, especially 2 years ago.
Got you, Willie Jack. And that's the thing I was more so concerned about with this particular move, is the fact that Kellen Moore has the the tendency to want to take some of the bigger shots, to want to stretch the field a little bit, to want to make plays a little bit further down the field in the passing game, which I think Jalen Hurts is capable of. But that shouldn't be what the offense should be centered around. Like, I don't think that suits Jalen Hurts' skill set the best. I think everything is for Jalen Hurts should definitely be skewed around his ability to utilize his legs, extend plays, run out of the backfield, and then also just play behind that awesome offensive line. Now I know you're losing a very valuable piece in Jason Kelsey, so he won't be there this next year. But and maybe I don't know, maybe that's not 100% confirmed yet.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what it looks like. But this team is built off of that offensive line, that run game, and everything is for that. So I'm curious to see if he can adjust, because it's going to take some adjustments from Kellen Moore in order to make this offense successful and to be develop more of that rhythm that they lacked this year. So I'm curious to see what that looks like for them. And that's, like you said, Willie Jack, that's going to be one of my concerns for Kellen Moore coming in, taking over as the OC of this Philadelphia Eagles team. But and moving on to the defensive side, though, I feel the exact same way with it, Jack. I got question marks about both sides, and the reason why is because we know Vic Fangio has been he's had a successful career as a defensive coordinator for years in the NFL for a lot of different teams, from the Eagles, from the Texans, from so many different teams. And this last year was the first year I saw Vic Fangio's defense look a little suspect. Look like maybe the league is starting to catch up with a lot of the older guys, and we mentioned names before and and guys that are a little bit older in this league, has been around for quite some time, start to take a smaller step back. Now, some are still successful, but at the same time, you got to wonder, coming off of the season with Miami, if Vic Fangio still is able to get the job done with all the different changes, the newness of the game, and how successful he can be with this Eagles defense. One thing we know for sure, Howie Roseman is going to get you the players. Oh, my God, girl, you scared the mess out of me. But Howie Roseman is going to get you the players. We know that for sure. But is Vic Fangio going to be able to utilize those players and play catch up with the game? And if so, then I think he can be successful with this team. So, but that is yet to be seen. So those are some of the question marks that I have in regards to this signing in Vic Fangio.
Well, see, and the thing about with Vic Fangio, for myself, I do see what you're saying, but I think when we look at the Dolphins situation in totality, we have to remember that team, especially like the further and deeper they got into the season, they end up losing like 9 starters or like 9 key contributors like to that defense. And then even I think Jalen Ramsey.
I did think about that, but I was like, at the same time, I was like, when they were there, they weren't that good of a defense.
But what I'm saying is, like, so Jalen Ramsey misses like 7 games, I think, to start the season. Then he comes back and makes some big splashes. I think he went back to back. He had 2 picks in the first 3 games back, or 3 picks in the first 4 games back. But then, like I said, you lose $200 million pass rushers on 2 edge rushers. You know what I'm saying? That you just pay. No, you know what? I don't think Jalen Phillips got paid yet. But you lose $100 million pass rusher and Christian Watson. The D line gets beat up. They lose 4 starting quality style of linebackers. I mean, they dealt with a lot of injuries in that secondary. And then also, man, honestly, the secondary in Philly is trash, but I'm more so curious to see what he's going to be able to do with that front 7 in Philly. Like, when I think about Vic Fangio's defense, the core of that defense, the heyday of that defense for me is definitely going to be his time in San Francisco, and it was definitely in that front 7. I'm thinking about Justin Smith up front. I'm thinking about Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman, of course. And then, of course, I'm thinking about Dante Whitner in the back end there. And so when I look at that Philly defense now, like, I love what they've got in that front line. Like, all those four pieces there. We'll see the young Jalen Carter. I'm assuming he'll take up the starting mantle now from Fletcher Cox. I would assume Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham finally get to kind of ride off into the sunset. And then so now we see full-time Jalen Carter, full-time Jordan Davis as well, to really anchor that defense for him in the middle. I'm curious to see like how he gets Hassan Reddick back into the top sack leading salary category, a guy who was 18, 19 sacks 2 years ago. This past year, a relatively quiet season. I don't know. I don't know what stats off the top of my head. Y'all got to forgive me, but it feels like it was a quieter down year. But also, it makes me think of, okay, well, Prime Vic Fangio, we seen what he did with a guy like Alden Smith, and so he could turn up a he can kind of turn them up in that way. I think if he gets the chance to get a team that's healthy and get going. Shout out to Miles in the comments because he pointed out as well how terrible the secondary in Philly's been, and so I think that's going to be a challenge for sure. You got to find something to do with James Bradbury because paying him $16 million a year to get honey roasted on live TV every Sunday, that ain't cutting it anymore. But Darius Slay, if he's still healthy, even though he's getting older, when he's on the field, he's still quality. You know what I'm saying? For the most part. And I do like that they have Kevin Byard, who's a veteran. He came over mid-season. But I'm thinking Darius Slay and Kevin Byard to kind of anchor a new revamped secondary and then like really can assuming and he's got the young front up there focused in the middle with Jalen Carter and those guys. I think there's a chance that he can I like this move, man. I think there's a chance to kind of right that ship because they do have a lot of some core pieces there. We still haven't seen the Kobe Dean, the standout linebacker from Georgia that they drafted, I want to say 2 years ago. He's been kind of inserted into the lineup starting this last year. He was kind of in and out, but I'm wanting to see if maybe Vic Fangio kind of is able to kind of unleash him as well, and maybe he turns into him. Also with the guy, one of my personal favorites from last year's draft, Nolan Smith, who we didn't really get a chance to see as well. So there's some weapons there under the you know what I'm saying, kind of under the wraps or kind of in the shadows that I really like some of these young raw pieces for Vic Fangio to really kind of get his hands on and see if he can, like I said, make sugar out of you know what one more time.
Absolutely, and that's why I say I feel like it's I just have those concerns. It's a possibility, and like I said, we know Howard Roseman is going to give him the pieces, but can he get
For
it
sure,
done?
you're right.
So I still just got a few concerns there. On to the next one. We got the Patriots, man. They decided to hire within. They hired DeMarcus Covington, former defensive line coach of the New England Patriots, man. They hire him as their new defensive coordinator moving forward. And Gerard Mayo seems like he's moving forward with the notion of, hey, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, a lot of these pieces were already in the building, and they're looking just to promote within, to keep that same culture, keep the same energy, and keep some of the guys, you know, around the players that have already been around. So now it's just hopefully that they can continue to keep that train rolling with Gerard Mayo leading the ship. You know, so they hire him as the new defensive coordinator, and Covington did a pretty solid job. Now this defensive line wasn't tremendous this year, but just like we mentioned with Vic Fangio, you know, they lost their best pass rusher in Judon for the entire
Yeah, they
season.
did.
Or maybe even before the season started. So Judon wasn't there, but yet we still found ourselves talking about this New England Patriots defense being one of the best in the business and still being the defense that can go down and slow down the top offenses in this league.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show all the different pieces to this puzzle coming together and being successful. Now, Bill Belichick is out of the door. We know Bill Belichick is a defensive genius. So now we're going to really see what we're going to get a chance to see what DeMarcus Covington has learned being under Bill Belichick for a few years, and also, all right, what this defense will look like with his hand fully on it versus having a Bill Belichick, you know, having years and years of experience being able to coach and teach and show this defense or lead this defense in the right direction. So we're definitely going to get a chance to see what DeMarcus Covington can do as the new DC or head guy on that defense.
Yeah, no, and this is a guy who honestly I wasn't familiar. I'm not familiar with him like individually. Honestly, this it's a new name for me. But hearing you say it as well, like he already came up under that tree, and so you know what I mean. It's one of those things where high tide raises all boats, and so you know what I'm saying. So he's the guy. He gets to rise up to the next rung in the ladder, you know, along with everybody else as everybody rises. But good thing about this though as well is. And our dog Miles, man, he's in the comments as well. Man, he said a lot of this was Bill's scheme. So no, it's still gonna be Bill's scheme. Jared Mayo, drafted by Bill highly, was a captain, was a green dot guy for Bill for a number of years. Went into coaching, came back. He's only coached under Bill, so he's born and bred in that Belichick defense, in that Patriot style defense that we've seen them kind of maintain for going on 30 years now. And so, but Jared Mayo, for a lot of his time under Bill Belichick, he was a like co-defensive coordinator with Bill Belichick's son. I can't think of the son's name right now, but the Belichick's son, I think, had the title of defensive coordinator this past year. And I thought in previous years, Gerard Mayo had a co-defensive coordinator title. But I say all that to say that Gerard Mayo, I would imagine, is probably going to work more hands-on and do a lot of work with that defense anyway. And so I think this might be there's going to be a change in titles, but I would imagine that for all intents and purposes, kind of how for just everyday working life for that defense, I would imagine it's probably still going to feel pretty familiar. I think Jared Mayo is going to be in most of those meetings. He's still going to probably work pretty closely with one of the position groups, whichever one he probably worked with before. I would imagine maybe the linebackers, just looking at his background. But so I would imagine that DeMarcus is going to have that title, but he's going to have a heavy hand and assistance from the head coach and Gerard Mayo anyway.
Absolutely. For sure, for sure. On to the next one, Willie Jack. Another name that most people may not be familiar with, Eric Washington, man, former defensive line coach of the Buffalo Bills, gets the new DC job in Chicago, man. This is a move where, like I said, he's a former defensive line coach of the Buffalo Bills. And throughout his time, this is one of those moves where he's taking on a solid unit, a defense that's actually coming off a good second half of the season. You know, with some of the pieces they put into play, and all the players that they've been developing thus far. Now you get a chance to bring over a new guy who is very familiar with, of course, the defensive line, but now having to take on the full role and gets an opportunity to really showcase himself and his skills and his brain smarts when it comes to the defensive side of the football with a very young team, a team that's I would say is I would say it's feeling good going into the offseason with how they look towards the end of the season. And now they're looking to continue that trajectory and go into the next season where they finish at the end of this season, so that they can have a chance of making the playoffs. We've already seen in the division, the Packers and Lions, the steps that they've been taking. It's looking like they're going to be teams to beat, and it's going to be a little bit of a tougher division. But if Chicago wants to take this step, this will be key for them in doing that moving forward. So Eric Washington gets a shot, and he's fresh, fairly new. So we'll get a chance to see what he's fully made of here.
And like I said, same as you, I wasn't familiar with his name just offhand, but seeing that he's done some work with that Bills defensive line, and I think now he gets to go to this job with the Bears, and we saw the drastic improvement that defense made over the last half of that season, or the last half of this past season, in no small part in direct correlation probably to the addition of Montez Sweat to that defensive line. And so this is going to be a team that's actually shaping up, like you said, they're in prime position to make a drastic improvement or completely just fall off a cliff here if they play this thing wrong. And I'm speaking of Ryan Poles in that front office. They've got tons and tons of draft ammunition. They're going to have tons of money here. Also, they're expected to have some good money here for free agency. And so you've got Montez Sweat. I know one of the priorities is definitely going to be adding to that defensive line. There's big name free agents on the interior defensive line coming up, notably Chris Jones, Christian Watson from Miami as well. So there's some pieces out here that they can probably go get to even help further bolster that defensive line. And then honestly, the work that he's probably done with these Bills, because we've seen guys like Ed Oliver on that Bills offensive line come along here over the last few years. What's the other guy's name, man? And you know what? You liked him out of
Greg Rousseau.
Greg Rousseau. I couldn't stand Greg Rousseau coming out of Miami. Chop was convinced that Greg Rousseau had something. I didn't, and I missed the boat on him, man. But seeing the development that we did see from Greg Rousseau, I would assume that we can attribute that to Eric Washington, as he's been the Bills D line coach for the last few years. And then there's a few other guys, man. Daquan Jones, who had really kind of, before he got injured, who had really kind of turned it to a nice piece in their run game as well. And so with Chicago's defensive front right now, probably going to need to be the leading section of that defense going forward. Him having direct working experience, hands-on with the D-line in his most recent post. I can see how that kind of lines up. Then that Eberflus system as well. It is more so of a pressure of it's not a heavy blitzing style of defense. You do want to get pressure from the front four. Think of what we saw from those old school Colts defenses. That's the style of defense that he kind of comes up under. And so I think I'm curious to see what he does there. And then also, man, bigger thing as well for that defensive job. What's this mean for a big time pending free agent, all pro Jalen Johnson? You know what I mean? Like so in a contract year, they didn't work out a deal before this year, and then what's he do? He goes and has his first All Pro season. It was damn good. So now are you able to hold him in the building? You know what I mean? And so that's probably going to be if they announced this job an hour ago. 49 minutes ago, he probably should have called Jalen Johnson and told him, "Hey man, look, what you need to stay here, big dog. I need you." You know what I mean? So I'm curious to see what pieces they bring in, like I said, with all the draft capital and all the money they're going to have. But yeah, this Chicago job is looking interesting, man. They're in position to maybe make a huge splash and leap forward here pretty soon.
Gotcha. Absolutely, Willie Jack. Absolutely. All right, man. Let's move over to Atlanta, man. Atlanta made a couple moves, man. The first move we'll touch on, they hired a new OC, Zach Robinson, man, former passing game coordinator and QB coach of the Rams, is hired as their new OC, man. And I like this move. I like this move because of one, and I guess we'll go ahead and pair these together too, Willie Jack, because and that way I can explain it the best way I can. But they also hire head coach Raheem Morris of the Rams as well, former DC of the Rams. So I like the move, and I'll touch on the Zach Robinson move, and I'll turn it over to you, Willie Jack. But I like the move of Zach Robinson. You got Raheem Morris coming over from the Rams. So of course, with him being more of a defensive guy, he wants to bring up a guy that he's very familiar with, a guy who he's been working alongside the last few years, and wants to give somebody a new opportunity. You know that he comes into this offensive coordinator job, learning a lot from Sean McVay and the system that he's kind of created over with the Rams. All the different things they've been able to do in terms of adjusting their offense since he's came over. I think that we're going to see something similar to that. And then him having the weapons that he's going to have to work with, I'm curious to see, all right, what is it going to look like for Bijan Robinson now? Does Bijan get a little bit more usage in a lot of different ways, a lot of different dynamic ways? Do we see more catches out of the backfield? Do we see a lot of these different things that we're seeing, or that we saw from Kyron Williams, a back that really kind of came out of nowhere this year, but now giving Zach Robinson an actual legit, guy, a prospect, a guy that is projected to be one of the best in the business. I want to see kind of how he utilizes that, and then along with that too, having the weapons in Kyle Pitts and Drake London. Do we finally see those guys be what we think they're capable of becoming? So I think I like that move there. I think he has a lot of weapons to work with. Of course, the biggest question there is going to be the quarterback position and how they decide to move forward with that. But I do like this move, and I think Zach Robinson has a great opportunity, not only this year to showcase what he's capable of, but if he can somehow find a way to make this offense really good and exciting and successful, I think that's the perfect, I guess you can say, springboard or diving board to a head coaching job in the future. If you can turn that offense into something super successful, that is a lot of times what a lot of these when you get these vacancies and with these teams, a lot of them, especially if they're looking for an offensive guy, they're looking for coaches like this. So I think this is an awesome opportunity for Zach Robinson.
No, and I think it makes sense, man. Zach Robinson's name was definitely one that was getting pretty warm here on the offensive coordinator market. My Steelers were we had put out that we were looking to interview him for possibly taking over as our offensive coordinator, but especially once the Raheem Mostert coaching news broke, it was kind of started being assumed that he was going there as well. Like you said, they kind of keep it in the family, and so I like the move on both fronts as well. I think Raheem Morris is a guy who's been well overdue for a second chance, and so we talk a lot on this show, and not so much anymore, but we used to talk a lot on this show about how we were just tired of seeing the good old boys club get recycled. You know what I'm saying? Like they got a chance to fail and fail again, and these same, you know what I'm saying? These same old, whatever, it is what it is. But these same guys got to hold on to these same seats regardless of their last performance. Meanwhile, guys like Raheem Morris or guys like Steve Wilkes or guys like Brian Flores, or you know what I mean, where the leash was so short or the leash was so tight, and that whether performance didn't always indicate, wasn't always the only or the largest indication of like job retention, more so as we got a chance to just kind of go get somebody that maybe fits more so what we want to look at as the corporate poster board. But be that as it may, man. So Raheem Morris is definitely a guy that I'm definitely glad to see him get another shot. He had he was one of those guys where he was a super young coach. He was in Tampa Bay. Uh, he ended up getting to take over as an interim head coach. And what I remember most back then is I think they rallied and won 10 games. They were pushing for the playoffs, and they had like a slogan or something like that, like 10 and we in. And so they had built this whole kind of mantra around the team, like, let's get 10 wins, we'll get to the playoffs. And they got to 10 wins, but it was one of those years where there were multiple 10-win teams, or for whatever reason, they didn't make it because of whatever tiebreaker in place or whatnot. And then I think that next season, I don't know, that the team, I think they gave him the official job that next year. I think as like a 33-year-old coach, and I think that team started like 4-7 or something like that. And then he loses that job, and then he's bounced around several places since then. One of those places he bounced around was Atlanta. He was a receivers coach in Atlanta for a season or so before he. I don't know if that was right before he went out to LA as the DC, but anywho, so he had to pay his dues again and bounce around a couple of times. He led a Super Bowl defense. We saw the work he did with that Rams defense, specifically when they got to bring in Von Miller to pair with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, and how he deployed him. And so, but like I said, I'm happy he's getting another shot. I love the fit for. I love Atlanta just as a favorable location for.
Mhm.
It was always one of my favorite locations for all of these jobs because of they've got a very young core. You've already got a very solid offensive line, especially offensively. You got all the pieces in place except the trigger puller. You know what I mean? And Zach Robinson being, like you just said, the young hotshot guy. He's the newest flavor of the week off of the Sean McVay tree. And so now we'll get a chance. They're in position to possibly draft, to either draft, trade, and move around in the draft to get a young guy that they really want to zero in on. They're in position to maybe have a chance to do that, or also they're in position to maybe go get one of these established veterans that we're assuming that's going to be able to hit the market as well. So they're in a pretty nice. I think they've got a decent balance of talent on hand and availability to strike and kind of add the missing pieces that we need. But no, I like both moves on both fronts. And no, yeah, just like you said, man, the Sean McVay tree just keeps on growing.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. Absolutely, man. Hey, I like that move. So, hey, I'm good with that, man. I'm good with that. And last but not least, in our news today, man, let's go to Carolina, man, where Carolina Panthers decide to hire David Canales as the new head coach going into this new season. Willie Jack. So, what's your take on this one, man? This is one I'm kind of trying to see how you feel about this one.
Yeah, and so honestly, like I hadn't heard his name as far as mentioned with any interviews or anything like that. Then I feel like I heard his name when he got hired. But he's the offensive coordinator from the Buccaneers, and honestly, in seeing the work he did this year with that Buccaneers offense, specifically with Baker Mayfield, and really helping Baker Mayfield find a second life in the NFL as a starter. And now Baker Mayfield's gonna have 20 million reasons or so to thank this man for everything he did for him. You know what I mean? And so he's gonna get him paid. And so I think the proof's in the pudding right there. I think that run game in Tampa Bay never really got going, but a lot of that can be attributed to I think that offensive line, which has been kind of going through a makeover, going through work. All pro caliber right tackle and one of the young bright spots at the position, Tristan Wirfs. They move him to left tackle. You move a left guard over to right tackle, and Louis Gedeke, I think was his name. And so they've been shuffling some pieces around. You bring in a Rashard White as your full time starter now after playoff Lenny lost his sparkle, lost his magic. You know what I'm saying? And so that run game never got going, but he was able to find a way to kind of get Mike Evans back. I think the back turned up, and well, Mike, who's been the epitome of consistency. He's had 1,000 yards now, 10 seasons in a row. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like last year, just that offense just looked just disjointed. It just didn't flow. It just didn't look well. And that's coming off of the last vestiges of Byron Leftwich's time there, which is off of the kind of the last tail end of now I can't even think of old boy's name, man. The old white dude, the coach is too cool for school. That was the
You talking
coach.
about Bruce Arians?
Bruce Arians, there we go. Yeah, so all that stuff is gone. Todd Bowles takes over. Leftwich is let go. David Canales comes in, and then we see what the job that he was able to do. Not only culminating in that team being competitive, but winning the division and winning a playoff game. And so, thanks in no small part to the work he did specifically with Baker Mayfield, who was all but left for dead for 98% of the people in professional football. And so now he gets a chance to really kind of test his mettle, though, because the reclamation job in Carolina, boy, it is not for the weak. And so let's see if he can salvage what he could do with Bryce Young. And like I said, man, all the cabinets are bare in that offense. And so he's definitely got his work cut out for him. But I would imagine he had to have had these conversations with Dave Tepper. Like, hey, look, Dave, man, I know sometimes you get off that yak and you get to tripping, but hear me out, big dog. You know what I'm saying? Hear me out, man. Look what you left me in there. Don't ask me for lobster and you left me half a bag of noodles, man. You know what I'm saying? So let me do what I got to do. We got to go shop a little bit. Then you got to let me kind of cook and fail a little bit until I can bring something that tastes good. But we'll see how it goes. But no, I'm like I said, I'm anxious to kind of see how he builds the rest of that staff. And then like I said, with that just what Bryce Young looks like going forward. Like I said, man, because as bad as this looked, there's people already ready to pull the plug on him. And so we'll see what he's able to do.
Absolutely, Willie Jack, and you kind of hit on the points that I was looking to make too in regards to this move is the fact of how much he worked, how much he did for Baker Mayfield, and I want to focus more so on the mentality aspect because a lot of times as for QB, it's not always just the talent and just the arm strength and just that skill set. A lot of it is mental. You know what I mean? You go into these games, not only mentally trying to prepare for what the scheme is going to be and that part of it, but also the drawback. Every game, like it's a reason why there are a lot of guys out here talking football that blame all the wins or either all the losses on QBs. That is a huge weight to take on because I mean, look at guys like Dak, man. Dak Prescott,
Yeah.
guys like Tua, it's a reason why this is the tough one of the toughest. Well, in the NFL, I feel like it's the toughest position to play because it's not just the on the field stuff. They get more off the field flag than anything else, And when you're doing well, of course, you get the Pat Mahomes treatment. You get those type of guys. But then Baker Mayfield is a prime example of a guy who a lot of people wrote off, including me. So that is the job that he did. I mean, you can't really sell that short. You got to give him his props there. And then, like you said, going into this situation, it makes sense why this is the situation that they've decided to bring him over to, or this is the guy they decided to add to their team because I think you're going to need a guy like this, a guy that can not only focus on just the overall scheme and things like that, but also just tap into the mental of your quarterback to be there with him, walk him through things, teach him how to be a pro. Those are a lot of things that he's going to have to learn, and you might have to break him back down. It might have to be Army style where it's like, all right, we're getting back to the basics. Forget everything you done learn. Everything you learned, forget it. We're going to start here and we're going to utilize everything you got and we're going to help you grow from this point, man. So yeah, I like the move, but yeah, it is a tall task for sure. It's a very, very tall task. So we'll see how everything plays out in terms of that, Willie Jack.
Gotcha. Now hold on. I know. Right now, this was the last of the news, but
Go ahead.
on the fly, might as well.
Go
No
ahead,
better
Go
time
ahead.
than the present.
Go ahead.
There's two jobs left in this this year's head coaching opening cycle or whatever the case. So we got the Washington Commanders, we got the Seattle Seahawks. Now I'm gonna do a little bit of legwork for you. I'm gonna give you. I think there's 3, 4 kind of prime candidates or names that I've been kind of hearing floating around, and so I'm gonna throw these names to you and then see which of any of these guys you would of course put in which of these jobs, if any, or if you've got a guy I don't name or list, then of course tell me your guy that you was putting in these two jobs. But
I'm on with it.
let's say first one is going to be let's say Mike McDonald. He's the defensive coordinator for the Ravens, and so the job he's done kind of with this Ravens defense, the number one defense for the bulk of the season. They finished the year that way, and just by all accounts, man, it's been a very just a phenomenal job that he's done there. Ben Johnson, of course, we've heard his name for a year or two now, especially the offensive coordinator with the Lions, who turned down this Panthers job. Turned down this Panthers job already. Even though he's from
For
Carolina.
obvious reasons.
I was trying not to, you know what I'm saying? I was trying not to throw temper no more jabs, but yeah, for obvious reasons. And then Aaron Glenn, also the defensive coordinator from the Lions, who's really done a lot here for this Lions defense. Like I said, that pass defense and the secondary still got some improvement to do, but I think the job he's done specifically in that front seven, and then still being serviceable enough in that secondary to still keep things interesting at times. I've been hearing his name a lot, and so he's a guy. And then also, man, a guy who maybe head coach is a little too soon. I know my Steelers and some teams have got their eyes on him for the offensive coordinator position, but Clint Kubiak, who's under Kyle Shanahan right now, I think as the quarterbacks coach, but he's a name that's kind of being looked at as, I guess, like he's this year's Bobby Slowick. And so Bobby Slowick, before he went to Houston with D'Amico Ryans, became the OC, he was in the position that, well, I guess Clint Kubiak's in that position now, type of thing. So he's the next, I guess, young hotshot guy under the Shanahan, I guess, direct lineage, that may be a guy that maybe he jumps to the head of the class. Like I said, we've seen it done. When Sean McVay jumped to the head of the class and got that head coach job in LA, it kind of threw people back. So I think I want to include him in case somebody wants to do something drastic like that. But and then of course we know the stalwarts. We know Bill's still out there. We know Mike Vrabel's still out there, very quality coach. And so there's some other guys there. But you got 2 jobs. Who you hire for each job, and then tell me a little bit why.
Okay, so you named a couple guys, and this is what I do, Willie Jack. Those first 2 guys were probably the names that stuck out to me the most. So I'll place both of those 2 guys in those last 2 spots, but I want to come back and follow up with, all right, even better. These are the guys I feel like should get the jobs, over all of those guys. Just I think the best fits for them. Okay. So first we start off with I think you said McDonald. Okay. McDonald, the defensive coordinator of the Ravens, doing a phenomenal job, obviously. You know what I'm saying? With what he's been able to do and the schemes he's been able to set up to help get through some crucial wins throughout this season. And to be quite honest, I think this is part of the reason why those 2 teams haven't hired anybody yet. Is because they're looking at, the prospects that are left within these 4 teams that are still in the playoffs, and they want to make sure they do their due diligence before they go with one or the other. But I think McDonald would be the perfect person for this for the Seattle team. I think with what we've seen Seattle do and the players they brought in, I think that they have the guys in place for him to come in and really work this defense and really get them back. Not necessarily back, because that defense was all world. That defense was something different. But get them in a place where they can be a top 5 defense in this league. They have a lot of the pieces. They may need 1 or 2 more, but they have a lot of things in place already to where they can come in and be a little bit more of that dominant defense. Now, I do think they could benefit from an offensive guy as well, especially with what they have. I think a guy right alongside Geno Smith can really help him. But McDonald would be the guy I would name of those first 2 names. And I think the second name you said was I think you gave me.
Was that Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator from the Lions?
Yes, Ben Johnson. Perfect. You got a lot of things to work with over in Washington. However, the thing that makes me kind of feel a little bit different about that is the fact that you already got an Eric Bieniemy over there. So do you want to get 2 offensive guys over there, or would it be best to get a defensive guy as the head coach, or even move Eric Bieniemy up to the head coaching spot, because that's another opportunity there, and then bring in somebody as a defensive coordinator. So Washington has a few different things I think that they can play with, but the more this situation goes on and on year by year, the more I feel like there's something more to this Eric Bieniemy situation, and it's not just him, and it's not his coaching ability. I think he's good at coaching. I think it's something with the personality, and I don't know if people feel like his personality will be great as a head coach, because that's the thing. Some people, you may be good in, and I'm just speaking regular work stuff, you may be good as an administrative assistant, or you may be good at working the front desk. You know what I'm saying? But doing the more strategic things, in a different position may not just be you. And sometimes that's okay. I think we get so caught up in the OCs and DCs, and I think they even get caught up in it too, feeling like a head coaching job is for me. You know what I'm saying? I want to move up to the head coaching job. Well, we found out time and time again, year after year, that some of you guys aren't cut out to be OCs. To be head coaches. A lot of you guys are just cut out to be OCs and DCs. That's going to get me on a different tangent. So let me come right back. Let me bring it back. But I think the perfect spots, the perfect guys for each of these teams, I think is I'm still on the Flores train. So Flores and Vrabel. I think Vrabel will be a great guy to have over in Washington. I think he will be a great head coach to pair with Eric Bieniemy. I think he also has the personality to be able to, I don't want to say outshine, but to be able to control that entire situation. I think it was great to have Andy Reid as the head coach with Eric Bieniemy as that OC. The reason I think it worked so well because Andy Reid had enough of the personality, had enough of the experience, had enough of everything to back him to to work perfectly with Eric Bieniemy's style of coaching. And I think Mike Vrabel could be that for Eric Bieniemy as well. And I think that
Well,
combination
hold
would
on,
be.
wait. Did you mean to say Flores? You said Flores, then you just said Ray. Which one are you going to watch?
No, I'm coming back to Flores. I'm coming
Oh,
back to
okay.
Flores. I
Okay,
think
my fault.
Vrabel in Washington. Vrabel is
Okay,
the
there you
perfect
go.
spot to watch. I think
Okay.
Flores for Seattle is what I was
Okay,
going
there
to
we go.
get.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so I think that combination of Bieniemy with Vrabel, I think could be a perfect combination. I think we could see that team really start moving in the right direction very, very fast. If they can get those two together and they can get on the same page. I think both of these guys are alphas though, so that'll be a little bit tough. But at the same time, if they can get it going and get it working, I think this team could quickly start moving up the ranks. And then Brian Flores, man, I've been talking about Brian Flores all year. I think he definitely deserves a job there, and I think the Seattle job could be a great opportunity for him to go in and part of a winning organization, still being there with a guy like Pete Carroll to kind of help continue to move this organization in the right direction. And I just think he deserves a second shot, man. More than a lot of the guys. I would love to see him in the head coaching spot. He needs one of those. So that would be my two guys I would place there. A close second would be Ben Johnson in Seattle, just because of the off him being the offensive mind and being able to be there with Gino or whoever their offensive guy is, or the quarterback is. But I still like Brian Flores.
I got you. I got you. And then one thing I would say, and then our dog Miles had a comment. He says Brian Flores thing. I think when he said this when he was talking about the temperament of Eric Bieniemy. He's very firm and sometimes reckless with how he addresses players. This is why I don't think you double dip with, because if you already got EB being the hard ass in the room, you know what I mean. So like Vrabel and Flores are also cut from that same style of cloth. So you can't have like you all right, Chop, you married and you got kids. Like both parents can't be bad cop. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm sure you want to take turns and switch the roles or whatever, but just for the sake of this conversation, somebody's got to be the parent to let the kids sneak ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be, you know what I'm saying? Like, mama can't slap you in the face and then daddy go ahead and then ground you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta balance it out. So if you if you keep EB in Washington, then I think then double dipping with a Brian Flores or double dipping with a Mike Vrabel. I think players, especially this day and age as players, I think then, man, you lose that locker room faster than you can blink because, like I said, man, I just don't. I mean, we see it even now, man. Like you can't talk to these people, you can't talk to kids this way no more, or not kids. Like these grown men, but you just can't. It's hard to have a type of environment where you can like ride players like that. Which is even with a Bill Belichick, like that shit only works in New England with Bill. That's why everybody from his tree that tried to take it somewhere else, Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels, thought that we could be Belichick in Denver. I could be Belichick in Detroit. Nah, man, you can't talk to me crazy like that. You can't most of these guys aren't going for it. So I think you would want to balance it. But then I think I like what you said as well. Like I like the idea. I think, well, for one thing, I think Ben Johnson is definitely getting one of these jobs. I think it's been too much smoke around his name not to be fired. So I think he's definitely getting one. I like the idea of him in Washington because they've got, I think the they've like what we've seen that offense uh flash and be able to do. They flashed the ability to be explosive with Scary Terry and Jahan Dotson, and this is with the young and inexperienced Sam Howell. You know what I mean? But with EB already being there, then like I said, do you double dip offensively like that? Because if Ben Johnson comes in, that means EB's out. Because I don't, you know what I mean? Like they're completely two different systems, and Ben Johnson's gonna want to come in, do his scheme, and do his thing, and so then it frees up EB, and we see what happens there. But and then on the other side, I like the idea of what you said, man. As far as Vrabel in Seattle, I like that. Like I definitely like that. I like that idea. I mean, I don't know, man. Ben Johnson sounds good. Ben Johnson, I can see it with either one of those because Seattle may be a team where they've already went. been under the defensive coach for so long now. You know what I mean? They got rid of Pete because they're just ready for a new voice in their life. They're just ready for a new voice as far as their organization is concerned. And so maybe they're thinking, okay, we're tired of being kind of antiquated. Let's go get ourselves a young offensive guy. And Ben Johnson answers that question as well, especially with just how that defense is really kind of just falling apart, man, these last couple seasons. I agree with you. There are some young pieces there, namely in that secondary, but that front seven needs a lot of work. And so it may be a tougher turnaround for that defense as opposed to, well, maybe, okay, if we can't stop anybody from scoring 30, let's see if we can go score 40. And let's go get ourselves a Ben Johnson to kind of usher in just a completely new change of page. We're no longer going to be a ground and pound Pete Carroll. We're just going to be determined to run the ball, power run scheme, and you know what I mean, and try to build through this defense. Let's cut bait, start completely fresh, go get the hottest young offensive coach on the market in Ben Johnson, and then let Ben Johnson cover up that defense as we continue to add pieces. But yeah, like I said, I don't think you can go wrong with either of these guys, or with any of the guys that you listed, though, for sure. I'm on board with you. Brian Flores deserves to be a coach in this league sometime or another. Eric Bieniemy, I feel the same way as well. Like I said, I hope their time comes sooner rather than later, but I don't know if it'll be with one of these last two. Well, I don't expect it to be with one of these last two spots, though, realistically.
Absolutely. All right, Willie J. Well, look, man, I ain't see a ton of people in there, man. Did you want to do a quick little film fam check in, or what you want to do, man? You want to of course, Miles is in the building, man. Did anybody else step in the building, man?
Or man.
Anybody else say something in the chat? That's what it really is.
No, I got you, man. I thought Miles was early, man. He was ready and waiting on us. Now he wasn't early. We was a little late, man. Apologies again. I had some technical difficulties for sure this morning. You want to say, man, it's how come the defending champs of the underdogs? Look here, man. What's yesterday's price got to do with today's price, Miles? That's what you need to ask yourself. Defending champs, that sounds like yesterday. You talking about old stuff. That's 2023, bro. It's 2024 right now. They ain't got nothing to do with what they done showed us for 17 weeks this week. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what that's about. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But then also, man, Mon Dukes is in the building. As always, I love you, ladies. Say good morning. Have a happy and blessed show. As always, we appreciate you. And then the rest of y'all, man, I see y'all in here. I got a lot of comments from my dog Miles. But I see y'all in here. Y'all drop something in my chest so we can shout y'all out properly.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate y'all for being in here, but we're gonna take a quick break and then we're gonna come back, man. It's time to preview these games we got coming up today, man. We got a couple big ones, so y'all stay tuned. We coming right back.
For sure.
Episode of Let the Film Speak, hosted by the wonderfully handsome and intelligent brothers of Let the Film Speak. That's Chop and your main man, Willie Jack. You feel me? Also brought to you by the Three Amigos. Y'all know them and you love them, man. That's the Three Amigos. That's like, that's share, that's subscribe, that's three the hard way, that's a 3-piece spicy. You cannot go wrong. Now, I say the same thing every week, so y'all can say that home with me. I know y'all ready for it. Here we go. It's Three Amigos, but it's 4 parts to this process, big dog. First, you just got to tap in. Like my dog said, man, come in, tap in. Just say what's up, man. Just holler. Hey, what's up, Three Amigos, man? Like, share, subscribe. Hey, Chop, man. Willie, man, what's going on, man? It's cool I sit on the couch? For sure. Y'all got some cold to drink? Oh, man, my man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, man, I'm a Broncos fan. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's easy. Ain't it, Chop? Come in, sit down, get comfortable. Get a cool adult beverage and let us know who you ride with, big dog. Then tell a friend. Like, man, that's a nice feeling here, ain't it? Man, it's cool, man. My homeboy was out. He was down. Man, it's cool. I can tell a friend. Tell a friend, man. And you know what? Even better than that, you can tell your friend to tell a friend. Guess what? There's more. You can tell your friend's friend to bring his partner too. Bring one more because we need 4, man. Bring them up into the penthouse. Tap in with your dogs, man. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. You know we don't wear no watches. We ain't got nowhere else to be but in here kicking football flavor with the fam. And now back to the regularly scheduled program. All right.
All right, man. And shout out to Miles, man. My dog Miles came in and said, man, this is a really good commercial. You know it by heart. Hey, I've been saying myself talking about the commercial too, man, and knowing the different parts. And then, you know what I'm saying? when my dog come back. So, Miles, I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. I know exactly what you're talking about, man. But yeah, man.
It was crazy. But before we moved to the penthouse, boy, I used to freestyle things every week.
Freestyling, baby.
It was freestyle every week, man. And then we moved to the penthouse. Now we got all these nice things, man. So we glad y'all like it.
Absolutely. Well, hey, man, it's time for the moment we were waiting for, man. We know what game's coming on today. We got 2 big ones, man. We got the Chiefs at Ravens. We got the Detroit Lions going to San Francisco. So we got awesome games today, man. We got some great ones. And yeah, it's about time that we preview them, man. So we got one coming on at 2, one coming on at 5:30. You got enough time to get everything together, man. Get yourself together, get your food. You want to cook something, you need to go grocery shopping, any errands that you need to run. We're gonna give y'all enough time to go get that done. So when you come back, you know what I'm saying, you ready to go, man. So let's go ahead and tap into the first game, Willie Jack. The 2:00 game we got today. We got the Kansas City Chiefs going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens. And Macaroni Tony, I'm glad you're in here. You know what I'm saying? Because you was asking questions about you guys being the underdogs in this game. So now we get a chance to touch on it. Willie Jack, who you got in this game? Tell me why. What are the keys? And give me everything you got about this one, man.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, man. I think. Well, I'm first off, y'all gotta understand, man. I'm in a very precarious position right now because as your resident national president of still a nation, you feel me? It goes against my core. Like, imagine Superman going to the market and ordering a slab of kryptonite. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just wouldn't. So it's something in my soul that just like won't let me cheer for the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? But it's something about these spoiled ass Kansas City fans that just really just be turning me off, Chop. They just like these Kansas City fans. They've been in the club for about 2 weeks, and you'd have thought they've been here for 20 years. They be in there running around so reckless. They so spoiled, and everybody wants to whine and complain. Man, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous. They the new Cowboys fans, but they winning. That's why I'm glad the Cowboys. Imagine if the Cowboys fans started winning again. That's what these Chiefs fans have turned into. It's getting outrageous.
Ain't it crazy that the Cowboys ain't won a Super Bowl since '96, and they, man, it's hey dog, that's about that almost at 30 years, man. They almost at 30 years.
Bro. The Lions is in the NFC Championship sooner than the last time the Cowboys is there. But you wouldn't know it if you listen to these Cowboys fans, boy. You wouldn't know it. You know what I'm saying? And so it puts me in a very precarious situation. But I think Baltimore, man. I'm going with Baltimore. Here's the thing as well. Joe Tooney's out this game. Joe Tooney, all-pro left guard, had a phenomenal season. He's out. And then last week, if y'all was tuning into last week's show, I know y'all probably was. One of the things when we talked about when we had fun with the positional core rankings game. And so one of the things I talked about with this Kansas City offensive line is, well, the strongest part of that line is its interior. So they're strongest from left guard to right guard. Left guard, all-pro Joe Tooney, center Creed Humphrey, right guard, the young Trey Smith. That's probably the best 1-2-3 across the inside in this league. Like those three in total. And so now you're missing the Joe Tooney, arguably, between him and maybe Creed Humphrey, the best of the bunch or whatnot. And so he's going to be out. And then he's out in this game against Baltimore, in which, well, the strength of their pass rush is honestly up the middle. So they've got Kyle Van Noy and Jadeveon Clowney on the edges, who had successful seasons. I think neither one of these guys are top-tier pass rushers. We saw Jadeveon Clowney do the happy dance because he got to 9.5 sacks and triggered a bonus. I don't know who the hell triggers a bonus, who gives a bonus for 9.5 sacks. Man, was a number one pick, been in the league for 12 years, he ain't never had 10 sacks. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But so he's got 9 sacks. Kyle Van Noy, who's got more lives than Catwoman, because I feel like Kyle Van Noy, I feel like he's been 35 in this league for about 10 years, and like every few years he pops up and he has a phenomenal year. He had a great year for Baltimore this year. He's got about 8-9 sacks, but the explosive pass rusher on this team is the guy on the inside, Justin Matabuke. There we go. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds so nice. I said it twice, Chop.
I see you, dog.
Now.
I see you.
Come on, man. But
that cold might be coming about you.
Hey, you might be on something. And so he had like 13, 14 sacks this year, and he's the guy that's going to line up inside. Well, now Joe Tooney, who was probably going to catch a lot of that work, well, he's gone. And so now you're weakest at one of their stronger, you know what I'm saying? That's where they have an edge now. Then also you've got great blitzing linebackers in Patrick Green and Roquan Smith. You know what I'm saying? And so these are also guys that are going to torch these A and B gaps on twists and stunts and things like that. And so this Joe Tooney loss is massive. Also, we've seen this run game and Isaiah Pacheco have to carry this offense for large stretches of most of the season. And then also as critical as they was in last week's game against Buffalo. And again, you down all-pro left guard Joe Tooney. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's going to be a big hole to fix, in my opinion. Or in my opinion, I'm thinking that's going to be like that makes a tall task that much harder. And then that coupled just with overall how this defense is playing, I'm curious to see what All Pro, the young guy, the young fella, Kyle Hamilton. Okay, what's he do with Travis Kelce? You know what I'm saying? When they get to mix it up on the inside, Geno Stone, who's been kind of just the kind of, he's just got a rabbit foot. Yeah, everywhere he goes, the ball follows. You know what I'm saying? Like, does he get his hands on one? I saw Kadarius Toney's not playing. That almost gave me hope. I was okay, Kansas City. There you go. Y'all to bench Kadarius Toney for this game. Y'all might got something. You know what I'm saying? Y'all might got something, boy. But no, realistically, man, on the road in Baltimore, I was honestly surprised that this was the early game. I thought this was gonna be perfect to be a Sunday night game. Sunday night in Baltimore. Baltimore will wear them all black uniforms. Like, I thought they was gonna do that. That lets me know that the league wants Kansas City to win, because why they got Kansas City playing Baltimore in the daytime. But I'm going Buffalo when it's all said and done. Uh, this Kansas City defense does honestly scare me in this one. Chris Jones, if he's when Chris Jones is on, man, he can wreck any game he's a part of. You know what I'm saying? And we saw him kind of get pushed around a little bit, especially in that first half last week game, till he decided to turn his own switch or pull his card, and then he took over and dominated that game in the most critical moments. And so he's a guy that can really make life hell for Lamar Jackson, trying to sit comfortably, as we've seen him do now, to deliver the ball upfield. L'Jarius Sneed on the outside with the receiving group in Baltimore. They found a way to be explosive, but I still don't feel like they're just down in and down out good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really is striking when the iron's hot. Like, Lamar's being Lamar, and now we get Zay Flowers on a deep 30-yard over. You know what I'm saying? Now we get Odell on a deep double move. You know what I'm saying? So, but L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie, shit, they up to that task. I'll take McDuffie all day on Odell Beckham and twice on today Sunday. I'll take did I say no, Sneed? Yeah, I'll take Trick McDuffie in the slot on Zay Flowers. I'll let them two youngsters duke it out. And Trick McDuffie was all pro this year. You know what I'm saying? So I'll take those matchups if I'm Kansas City. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that makes it. I think this does make it pretty tough. But I think when it's all said and done, man, Lamar's playing at that level, man. He's playing at that level. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's 96 MJ. You know what I'm saying? It's '07 Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Where, man, look, I might go 12 games where I score 60 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those type of runs, man. And so, man, it's hard to get in the way of a good thing. So I'm gonna go, as much as it pains me to say, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs and make it to a Super Bowl. And I'm telling you right now, if the Baltimore Ravens win a Super Bowl, dog, I might have to sit that show out, man. I don't know. I just don't know, Chop. I don't know. But I got them making it, getting past Kansas City in a very exciting game, man. Kansas City's going to show up and show out, man, because they said that championship pedigree means something. And so I don't think they're going to lay down at all, man. We've seen what Patty and Travis and those guys do when the lights is brightest. And so I definitely think they show up and make this one for the ages. I'm going Baltimore. Do they touch 30? Is this a game where somebody has to touch 30? Because that makes me that worries me. Because if it's a race to 30, man, that sounds like Patty has something to say. I'll go 28. 28. What? No, I'll go 30-27. Baltimore eking this one out at home to make it to a Super Bowl. Damn, yeah. 30-27, man.
Okay.
I don't feel great about this, Chap.
Okay, and you know what? You shouldn't. You shouldn't feel great, because it's the AFC Championship game. It's supposed to be a game where either team can win. It's supposed to be one of those games where, hey, man, you don't feel confident in anything in these games, because anything can happen and both teams can show up, and any team. That's what makes for good football, Willie Jack. That's why we love the NFL, Willie Jack. So it's supposed to feel like that. You know what I mean? The good thing is no matter who loses, you don't have a real team in this fight. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Hey, it's one thing to have your team here and you lose that game and you got to be hurt for a whole week. You know what I'm saying? And be listening to everybody talking bad about your team because everybody didn't watch. So it's one of those things. But here we go, Willie Jack. I'm going to say this. These two quarterbacks here are they are good defense neutralizers. Okay,
Yeah.
and what I mean by that is both of these quarterbacks have the ability to, regardless of the defense, they can break down the defense with their skill set. We know Pat Mahomes, even with him not being as athletic as Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes is a menace in the pocket and very, very good at creating extra time for himself and extra time for his receivers to get open. There's nobody in this league that can cover for 7 seconds. Nobody. You know what I'm saying? So when we're going through these plays, that's what these defensive backs are going to have to be. So when we're talking about Trent McDuffie being a great defensive back, L'Jarius Sneed, Marlon Humphreys, you know what I'm saying? All these different defenders, Kyle Hamilton, that are very good, you know, at playing defense. I think that goes out of the window once the play goes beyond about 5 seconds. You know what I'm saying? The average play is about 3.5 seconds. So once the play goes beyond 5 seconds and it's a passing play, that kind of goes out of the window because now you have to cover for so long, and now you're covering against, you know, recess in elementary school routes. You know what I'm saying? Run around a trash can, go over here, go over there, turn around, drop down,
run to the swings,
like
cartwheel left.
Exactly. Those are the types of routes that you're now having to guard once the play goes beyond a certain point. You know, so I think that gives the each offense a little bit of a advantage. I think that's part of the reason why we're going to see a little bit of scoring. It's not going to be. I don't see this game being in the 30s for both teams. I don't think it's a 30-30 something game, but I do think there's a few points, and I do think we see the ball being moved up and down the field decently. I don't think this is just a full defensive game, even though both of these defenses are two of the top defenses in the league. You know, so that's what we see there. But I do think there's something to this Baltimore defense and what they're able to do, and to the point that you made with Tony being out this game. I think that's going to be key because even with an offensive lineman being out, I always go back to that Tampa Bay versus Chiefs Super Bowl where, you know, Patrick Mahomes had some injuries to his front and Pat Mahomes is running for his life. You know what I'm saying? And it just caused that offense to lack rhythm. And I think that McDonald is very good at scheming. We saw the wonderful scheme he did against San Francisco earlier this year, and I thought that scheme was perfect and was able to put them in position to do you know, what a lot of people didn't see them doing. It was cause a lot of turnovers to San Francisco and really slow down what looked to be a wood-on machine. You know, so I like what they were able to do to them. And that's part of the reason why I'm going Baltimore in this game as well, Willie Jack. I'm going Baltimore in this game. I got a final score of 27-20. And the key for me is going to be more about more about Lamar Jackson, right? We watched the game last week with the Chiefs and Bills, and we watched Josh Allen rush for over 70 yards, a touchdown, and a lot of the success that they had offensively was off script. Okay, now the Chiefs defense ended up showing up, but a lot of things were off script. And I think that's where Lamar Jackson thrives. I think Lamar Jackson also thrives in that position. But the other part of that is Lamar Jackson, and the difference between him and Josh Allen this year, Lamar Jackson has been more safe with the ball. I think he's been a little bit more safe. I don't think he's had as many turnovers. I don't think he's made as many turnover-prone plays. And I think that's going to be right into the wheelhouse of what Lamar Jackson likes to do when he gets loose and gets into open space, you know, against this Chiefs defense. I think that's going to be part of the defense there. And I expect the Baltimore Ravens to really come out and this is where Lamar Jackson gets over that hump, man. He has 2 playoff wins or 3 playoff wins total now. You know what I'm saying? He beat Houston. He had 1 playoff win before this year, but he beat Houston, and then he also beat they beat they just beat Houston last week, right? That was it. You know, so they beat Houston, so he now has 2. And I think he can get his 3rd playoff win this game here. And I think this is the year for them, man. I think everything is lining up for him. The defense is playing tremendous. And yeah, give me Baltimore Ravens 27-20. That's my final score of this game.
Hey, go ahead, man. Hey, we got a comment, man. Shout out to Brooks Alexander, man. Boy, you a bold brother, man. You a bold man. He said Not gonna be close. He said give him the Ravens by 17.
And you know
By
what?
17.
I'm
A
gonna say
hog
this.
molly. That's a hog molly. That's
Let
a
can I-
molly wop. All right? You know what I'm saying? Y'all gonna tell me that Patty's gonna get hog tied and molly whopped on championship Sunday?
listen,
Patty
Willie.
cakes?
Listen, check this out. I've seen this time and time again. The Chiefs are playing the last couple of weeks. They've been playing much better than what they've been showing all
That's a
season.
fact.
They've been playing much better. But I honestly think this is going to be the defense to get them to get them back to where they at the level they've been playing before they went on that good run. I can see that. I don't think it's gonna happen, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is a 27-10 game, Willie Jack. It wouldn't
Man,
surprise me.
bro, that's you know what? 27-10 sounds too close to 30-3. 30-3 is what the Ravens did to the Texans, dog. We gonna say that Patty Cakes is gonna get Texan? Patty Cakes? Mr. 13 seconds? Patty? I don't know, man.
This the NFL, man. We didn't think he was gonna get blown out in the Super Bowl either. They got blown out, bro. You know what I'm saying? Things happen, bro, and it ain't no knock against Patty. I think Patty solidified, man. Patty is even if they lose this game today in blowout fashion, Patty is solidified in this league, man. I don't think we'll go into this game thinking Pat is a different person if they get blown out in this game. I don't think anybody will come out and say, "Oh no, Pat Mahomes is whack. He's terrible," or this and that. No, he's already shown even in his playoffs that hey,
playoffs.
He's already shown, like, I'm still Pat now. Don't come into this game thinking it's going to be sweet. He's already shown that. And if you know football and you're smart, you're not going to go away from this game no matter what happens saying, man, Pat Mahomes is terrible. Or Pat Mahomes, nah.
Hey, man, hold on, man. Stop.
Pat Mahomes still the best in the business.
Hey, he said going to be a Patty melt.
Hey, and shout out to Brooks, man. Brooks, my partner, man. He actually moved down closer to y'all, man. He was in the loop for a minute, man. He done moved down to Texas, man. He in Texas.
Word?
Yeah, he done moved down to Texas, man.
Boy? What part of Texas he in?
I think he is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brooks. I think he's close to Austin. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But yeah, man, that's my dog, man. We love them, man. Love them. They got a beautiful family too, man. So
that's what's up. That's what he said. Go be a Patty Mel. Boy, I tell y'all what, man. Y'all let Patty get filleted like that on national television. Oh, H-time. Oh, okay. All right, damn, my boy. All right.
Okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Okay. Yeah, he tried to put you in Austin. Boy, he thought you was one of them. Look at that. Here you look.
My bad, brother.
Hey, hold on, man. Post my dog Miles, man. He in there fighting for the Chiefs, man. He said he's taking a 28-24 Chiefs. 28-24 Chiefs as well. I just seen his score. My chat just started tripping on me, man.
All right, chat started tripping on you again.
Yeah, Miles got 28-24 Chiefs. And that's the thing too, man. I can see an avenue in which the Chiefs win this game, man. I really can.
Anything can happen.
The way that Chiefs defense, you know what I'm saying? Like the way that Chiefs defense been playing, and honestly, I think the Chiefs defense getting to play Josh Allen in that Bills offense last week, I think there's more similarities there than probably we would think. Because like Josh Allen is a different breed, but same animal. You know what I'm saying? His leg's gonna be just as dangerous as his arm. You know what I'm saying? And so we've seen the Chiefs, like they had to deal with it, find a way to kind of contain that, so to say. And then even like the receiving core for those Bills where and this is what's going to be key again for those Ravens. Like I said, like they're not a great receiving core at all. They're a borderline good receiving core, but they do find a way to be explosive, and that's where they really make you pay. And that's what we saw happen with the Bills last week. They couldn't get that explosive that they needed. You know what I'm saying? Like those 3 drops are normally 3 hits for those Bills teams, and you know what I mean? So like they found a way to contain those explosive plays, and Kansas City just came off a week in which they just had to do the same thing on the road again. And so, man, they've shown the propensity. That's y'all word for the day. They've shown the propensity to rise to these type of occasions. You feel me? And so, man, and then also we didn't talk about it, but and we probably should. Mark Andrews is back in this one as well.
That ain't gonna make no difference. Ain't gonna make no difference.
Man, hey, Lamar gets a safety blanket back, man.
That ain't gonna make no difference.
Gets a safety blanket back,
man,
so
literally, Isaiah. If Mark Andrews is a A+ player, Isaiah likely came in and fit into this offense as an A- player. That ain't gonna make no difference.
No, man. He wasn't Mark Andrews.
No, he
Mark
wasn't. That's why I said A-. He wasn't Mark
No, it
Andrews.
wasn't. No,
But
man.
he wasn't.
It wasn't that close.
He wasn't different. It wasn't that much of a difference in an offense, bro. In terms of the tight end, he came in and literally was the number one weapon on this offense, bro. It wasn't. It was.
He had a
When Jimmy G went out and the offense went to Brock Purdy. That's what it was, bro.
No, man, no. His production, his production ain't been a quarter of what we are. It ain't been a quarter of what we get from a typical Mark Andrews. But I'm curious to see what he looks like, though, for sure, though. Like, I just wanted to mention it before we move on because we just didn't mention that he was coming back. But I'm curious to see what he looks like, though.
Ain't gonna make no difference, like I said. Anyway, ain't gonna make no difference. All right, let's go ahead and get to this next game, and that's why Brooks is in the building. Because now I told you Brooks is in Houston. He just came from St. Louis. He's originally from Detroit. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, he's got a team in this fight, man. He's got a team in this fight. He's got a team in this fight, man. We got the Detroit Lions going to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, man. That's your 5:30 game today. Another game that I am very excited to see, and for a few different reasons. One, let's just go ahead and get this out the way. Debo and CJ Gardner-Johnson been going at it now. You know, they've been talking. Yeah. They've been talking, and we got some dogs that been going at it, man. And last time I heard Debo going back and forth with somebody, you know what I'm saying, talking trash about cornerbacks or whoever, hey, the boy went crazy. You know what I'm saying? I think the last time we saw that was against Bradbury, and he just flat out just told us he was trash. Now, I don't think he said that specifically about CJ Gardner-Johnson, but the last time we saw him talk about that, man, we saw the outcome of that particular game. But I like this game. I think that the one to me has the chance of getting a little bit out of hand. Okay, and I think it really depends on. I think it's gonna really depend on the offensive line play of the Lions, the run game of the Lions, and how well Jared Goff can protect the ball. Because if there's one part that's been a little weak in terms of this 49ers defense, it's been their run game. Their run game has been giving up a little bit more lately than we're used to seeing them in the past few years. And if there's a team that has the offensive line and the running backs to really exploit that, it's this Detroit Lions team. I think this Detroit, between Montgomery and Gibbs, continuing to have fresh legs and the guys that can really move some people around up front, I think that's where the Detroit Lions really have that advantage. I think they'll be able to do that. And I also think that Jared Goff can still have that connection with Amon-Ra St. Brown because, you know, although Travarius Ward has been really, really good this season, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be running routes from all over the field. It's not just from the outside. It's not just from the slot. He's going to be in motion. He's moved around the field a lot, and I think he's going to continue to do that. He's going to continue to be that guy, you know, to be there in those crucial situations. Also, with Sam Laporta getting another week healthier, I think that's going to be key for the Detroit Lions as well. For the San Francisco 49ers, I think their game plan is going to be very simple. And quite honestly, it's just to do what you've been doing all year, especially on the offense. Having Debo in this game is crucial for them because we saw how this team didn't look so good against the Green Bay Packers when Debo was out. You know, so he went out early in this game, didn't come back, and they struggled a little bit. Brock Purdy struggled a little bit. So in order for this team to be successful, Brock Purdy is going to have to be safe with the ball. He's going to have to hit the throws he needs to hit and just play within the offense, play within himself and do that. If he's able to do that and everything else just rolls the way that it's supposed to roll around him, I don't see the Detroit Lions being able to keep up, especially with their passing defense. Shanahan, I think, is going to have a field day with this particular defense. The one part of their defense that has been pretty decent was their run game and Hutchinson, but they're going to have something for Hutchinson. Hutchinson, you're gonna have not only one of the better offensive linemen on you that's gonna be on you every single play, but you got a chip too. And this chip ain't no regular chip. You know, it's a George Kittle chip. It's a Kyle Juszczyk chip. So I think they're going to be able to neutralize him coming off the edge and not being able to provide as much pressure. And I think that the 49ers are going to be able to roll in this game. Just quite honestly, I think they're going to be able to scheme up against the run game. Christian McCaffrey is going to be very crucial in this game. And yeah, man, I think they're going to be able to roll. So I'm going 49ers in this game to get up early and force the Detroit Lions to go away from the run game. And yeah, they putting up 30, man. Get them 34, actually. Give them 34.
Oh,
34-23 is my final score of this game. I think this is a game where San Francisco rolls, man, and Detroit struggles to kind of keep up with these guys. I apologize, Brooks. You still my dog. You know what I'm saying? Nothing personal. You know what I'm saying? But this is just the way I see the game going. I just don't think your defense is as strong as it needs to be to really keep up with this 49ers team. And I think they get back going and get rolling in this game, and we'll see them beating the Ravens in the Super Bowl for a rematch.
no, and honestly, man, man, excuse me. I've also got San Francisco in this game as well, and I want it so bad, man, to find a way in which I realistically thought that the Lions could probably pull this off. The fact that they're going on the road for the first time this offseason as well. We know how special it's been for them playing in their own crib, in their dome, with all the magic and momentum of that city and in the town behind them. Well, now you're going across the country to the Bay. San Francisco, who's they like they like they've won, but it feels like they need to remind everybody who they are. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, so they kind of scraped by this last win with the Packers. They kind of more so kind of got by, and so I think this is going to be a team in a position where they're definitely looking to kind of like get a little bit of that dirt that's off their name right now. And I really just the biggest mismatch in this game when I think about it is just the receiving core for the Niners versus the weak Detroit Lions secondary, man. Like, you gonna tell me I get Brandon Ayuk, I get George Kittle, I get Deebo Samuels, I get C-Mac, best in business out the backfield. I get all these weapons against Cam Sutton, Kendall Vildor, and I'll give you Chauncey Gardner Jr. He's scrappy. You know what I'm saying? I like him. He's an aggressive trash talker. He's a ball hawk. I like what he's got going. You know what I'm saying? But man, that ain't enough. You know what I'm saying? I'm not taking him being scrappy and maybe he makes a play. You know what I'm saying? But that's just too much to ask, man, for the rest of that secondary to kind of keep up with such a strong receiving core. Just for that Niners offense, man. Like, to me, that's the biggest mismatch that I can't really see past. Then also, I am curious, just like you said, well, how long do the Lions, like, how long or how dedicated are the Lions to running the ball in this game? I think that's going to be critical as well, because that's one of the things last week in Green Bay with Aaron Jones having the success he did, that he was able to more so kind of keep that defense honest. And then we saw Jordan Love for about 58 out of 60 gameplay minutes cashing in on those opportunities because of the success they had in the run game with Aaron Jones. You know what I'm saying? So are they able to kind of keep pace? Like, because this is the type of game where, just like Chop said, let's say San Francisco, they love the front run. They're made to front run. They love the front run. Kyle Shanahan won his first game since being down 5 points in the fourth quarter, and that was just last week because Packers wet themselves in the critical moments of the game. He's 1-30. So since San Francisco comes out, gets the ball, let's say they march down the field and score. If Detroit 3-and-outs right there and gives the ball right back to San Francisco, if San Francisco goes up 14-0 to start this game, game's over. It's like we can cancel Christmas, because now Detroit is going to have to be in a position where now we've got to send Jared Goff back 35 times plus in this game. Now we've got to see if Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's very dynamic and very productive, but he's a volume catcher. So his touches to get up and down the field, he's gonna need 15 touches in this. He needs 15 touches in this game to take it over. He's not necessarily a quick strike guy. Jameson Williams, or is it Williams or Williamson?
Williams, just Williams.
There we go. So yeah, Jameson Williams, he hasn't developed into that instant offense guy that we need, where we can consistently say we can get down 14-0. But don't worry, we got one set. We can get 1 for 70 right now from J-Mo. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, man. Like, he hasn't given us that quite yet. And then Josh Reynolds, man, he just, you know what I'm saying, he's icing on somebody else's cake. So we got to get the party rolling, man, before we can really kind of get him featured here. And so it's just, there's too many avenues, I think, for Detroit to let this one to get away from Detroit versus the other way around, man. I think this is just a bad matchup for Detroit. This is just a bad matchup for Detroit, flat out. And so I also got San Francisco handling business here. I'm going 30-23. So not quite as wide as Chop. You got it a flat out 2-score game. I don't got it quite as wide, but I definitely do think that this is a game that San Francisco is going to have, I think, a firm grasp of the game, so to say. And then Detroit, like I said, they stick around and always kind of maybe threaten to get back in it, but they just can't quite get there or just can't quite do enough to really kind of get back to threaten the lead or threaten, you know what I mean? And so they end up falling short and lose 30-23. But that's where I'm going, man. 30-23 San Francisco on the road. Yeah, man. Detroit, I wanted to do it for y'all too, man. I did wanted to do it for y'all, but I realistically, this is the worst matchup I think that could have happened for Detroit. Is running into the San Francisco team.
Gotcha. And as expected, Brooks being a Detroit fan, he predicts a little bit of a blowout, 24-10 Lions over 49ers. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, because you a Lions guy, I expect it. And I say, okay, cool. But I don't necessarily see that happening, man. I don't see the Detroit Lions holding the 49ers to 10 points. I don't know how you see that or how they come about that. Maybe you have a little bit more explanation, but I don't see how that happens, man. And Brooks has been coming in here, man. He's been firing it in there. He
Now I'm
said,
reading, so it's coming down.
yeah, he said the 49ers are the Bills, man. They're the NFC Bills, going to all these different these NFC championship games and coming up short. He said this is going to be that's about to be three in a row for the 49ers, man. Coming up short in these NFC championship games. They're going to come up short again today against these Detroit Lions. So, hey, man.
Well, hold on. Now, let's not, but hold on. What's funny about that is the Bills lost one of those Super Bowls to the Niners. Like, they ran into those dynasty Niners and Cowboys teams. They lost 2 of those Super Bowls to the Cowboys and one of them to the Niners, if I remember right. No. They lost 1 to the Niners, 1 to the Cowboys, and then they lost 1 to the Giants. Yeah, I'm tripping. The Giants, because that's when the New York Giants won 1. Yeah, they lost 1 to the Giants, 1 to the Niners, and 1 to the Cowboys. So then, hey, the Niners won that. The Niners won right there, bro. And the Niners won in that one. He said they ain't losing to nobody named Brock.
Hey, he coming through. And then he said, I'm sorry. So this is why I got to stop you a little bit, Brooks, man. Because he said, you haven't seen the Niners win in the last 2 years, but this the one, huh? This the one. Well, hey, look, man, if that's your logic, man, I don't know if since I've been born, I've seen the Lions.
Hey, that's what I'm about to say. Like, you can, I don't know if that's the one you can throw.
I don't know if that's the logic we're gonna go by, Brooks, because I don't think I ever seen the Lions win, So going by that logic, yeah, you damn right I'm going for 49ers.
Yeah. And now he said James, he did say James. I see he said that James Houston is back for the Lions. And you know what? I'm curious to see what he looks like. James Houston, of course, known for being one of the better standout recruits from Jackson State, from Deion Sanders in his time at Jackson State. I believe the Lions actually drafted him in the 7th round, or I don't know if they came here, if they drafted or signed him as a free agent. But I want to say he actually got drafted, which was a big deal, of course, because there was a big push for HBCU players to get drafted. And so in the limited time that he was able to get on the field with like a season or 2 ago, he was the splash. He made some splash plays. He had a nice little run there. I think he ran off like 5 sacks in like 4-5 games at one point. So I'm just trying to throw him a bone, man.
No. Let me save you. Let me save you because Aiden Hutchinson is on the field, who lines up on the opposite side of Trent Williams, which means if James Houston is there, what side of the field does he line up on?
Well, honestly, no. Hutchinson normally lines up on the left, well, on the defense's left, so he's lined up across the right tackle most times.
Right, which means James
Trent Williams is the left tackle.
Williams, so he's canceled. Let's just go ahead. And cancel.
Okay. You talking about James? Okay, yeah.
Let's just
cancel. James line up against Trent Williams, that's over.
And Aiden Hutchinson he's gonna be doubled all night. He's gonna see Kittle and right tackle all night. So I mean, okay, all right, we'll see. Hey, but look though, check this out though, Willie Jack, man. We went through both of the games. You got to give me a performer of the week, man. I need a performer of the week from one of these games, man. Pick me one. You know what I'm saying? And if you got some performance nuggets, throw them my way too. But yeah, pick a guy. Give me one guy who's going to be your performer of the week this week.
I think, man, especially like the way that I see the Baltimore Kansas City game unfolding, man, I got to go with MVP Lamar. I think MVP Lamar is going to continue his run of special. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I don't necessarily know what it looks like from the pure yardage perspective. Last week he threw for 150 yards. You know what I'm saying? Which, okay, well, damn, how you scored 34 points and you only threw for 150 yards? Well, he ran for 100 yards. You know what I'm saying? So, but I don't necessarily know if the yardage is going to be terrific, but I think just when we just stack up all the performances, I think he's going to continue this run that we've seen him on, man, since about that Miami Dolphins week, where especially with them scoring 30. So what? I need what, three touchdowns, and if anybody scores on this Baltimore team, it's Lamar. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm looking for a 3 touchdown day. I think it's gonna be a ample dose of, just like kind of like we said, man, his legs just as much as his arms, much like we saw in last week's Houston game. And then honestly, man, in this game as well, because I really do think Kansas City secondary is gonna be stifling for these Baltimore receivers, and so it's most likely going to be more of his legs that really kind of make the difference in this one. And I am thinking that we're going to have to get a blast from the past moment, man, from Mark Andrews. I know he's been out. They've been hoping to get to this point so that he can come back. But I think that he's going to have to be the X factor in this offense, because I definitely think that on the outside, with McDuffie and Snead, they can handle any smoke that's coming from OBJ and Zay Flowers. So I think that Isaiah likely is going to have to step up and still continue to contribute. But I'm really curious to see what Mark Andrews does in this. I think he's going to be the X factor. But I'm going Lamar as my player of the week.
Gotcha. And since you're going one from that game, Willie Jack, I'm gonna go to the other game, man. And I'm gonna go with I've been going back and forth, and maybe I'll do a performance nugget with this one too. But give me your boy, man. Give me your boy, man. Christian McCaffrey, man. He is my performer of the week this week. I think he gets about anywhere from 15 to 18 carries, goes for about 80 yards. But I think his real contribution is going to come in the air. I think he's going to get at least 5 catches or for another 60 yards and two total touchdowns on the day for him, man. So I think he's going to go for close to about 150 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns on today, and I think he's going to be my performer of the week this week in a good game where the 49ers roll. But I will throw some performance nuggets in there too, Willie Jack, because I was thinking about this. Brandon Ayuk, man. I don't think there's a specific player out there that the Detroit Lions have that is going to be able to stop Brandon Ayuk. So give him 7 for over 100 yards in this game. So I think he has a solid one. And yeah, man, I'll roll with that one, man. I'm not going to pick any performance nuggets in this Chiefs Ravens game. But yeah, that's where I'm going. Those are my 2 guys. I'm gonna go Christian McCaffrey and Brandon Ayuk, man. Those are my guys.
Hey, help me out, man. Who the Bills lose those Super Bowls to, man? Mike D 109 LIB. Bills didn't lose to the Niners in the Super Bowl, you donkey. Look here, man. I'm pulling straws out the air, but you very likely could be right. But help me out though. Educate me. You know what I'm saying? Educate me. Who they lose to? I know they lost one to the Giants for sure. That was the notorious wide right. Or did they lose? Did they lose both of those to the Giants? Did they lose both those Super Bowls to the Giants? Or did the Giants win both their Super Bowls over the Bills? One was definitely to the Giants for sure, because that's where you get the wide right. Because when they missed that kick in Kansas City, it was of course wide right, and they was talking about the irony of that. So I know one was the Giants for sure. I thought one was the Cowboys. Who was the other one they lost to? Was it 2 against the Giants and 1 against the Cowboys? Help me out.
No, I'm pulling them up now, brother. I'm putting them now. So they lost, 2 to Dallas, 1 to Washington, and 1 to the Giants.
Okay, there we go. Michael Becker, what's going on? He said the Redskins. There we go, man. Damn, help me out, man. Help me out. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
There
all right, man. Willie Jack, I think that's about it, man. We conquered, man. We went through everything for the day, man. We gave y'all the previews of the game. Y'all got 2 hours. Y'all got a little bit over 2 hours, man, to get yourselves together, get ready for these games today. I think we're going to have some good ones. Well, I'm hoping we have some good games today, regardless of the winner. I don't have a team in this fight. So, hey, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying? I gave y'all my 2 cents, whether it comes through or not, which it most likely will. We'll kind of revisit that on Wednesday. So, other than that, Willie Jack, who gets the game ball this morning, man?
Man, you know, man, shout out to our dog Miles, man. Our dog Miles is in here. He was in here bright and early, waiting on us even through the delays. And then, man, he was had a lot to say today for sure. So we appreciate the love, homeboy.
Absolutely, man. Miles gets the game ball today. But other than that, Willie Jack, go on, wrap us up, big dog.
Hey, well, there you go, man. That's it. That's all. Man, we came, we saw, we conquered. Man, Mike D's on fire, man. He's always right. I like how you gave me the answer to that question after you heard us announce it. And after our dog Michael Baker even chimed in with some of the answers. But I ain't mad at you, man. I appreciate you tapping in either way. Shout out to the members that was in the building up for sure, man. Like we said, game ball winner Miles he was the first one through the door and kept the party going, man, especially in the early parts of the show. We appreciate the love, homeboy. The fan bam, Mon Dukes is in the building as well. Love you, lady. Appreciate you as always. Shout out to homeboy, man, Brooks Alexander. You know what I'm saying? Hold it down for his Lions today, man. Hey, good luck to you, bro. Like I said, I would love to see the Lions reach the Super Bowl, like I said. And then I'm cheering for an NFC Super Bowl winner this year anyway. I can't cheer for the AFC guys either way. So, like my dog Chop said, man, I don't have a hardcore dog in this fight neither. But shout out to Butte Brooks. Appreciate you, bro. Good luck to your Lions. Man, shout out to, man, our dog Michael Becker, man, slid this thing late. But like I said, don't matter if you get here late, just get here for a little bit of this gospel, man. We appreciate you. And shout out to you one time, man. Oh, Milk D. I thought it said Mike. Milk D 109 LIB. Look like one of them fake ass pages, man. But hey, we appreciate
you. Hey, man, state your name, man. Who are you, man? State your name,
hey,
bro. Man, so we know who we talking to, man.
It ain't gonna matter no way, man. We appreciate the love either way, man. But yeah, shout out to the Skins and Giants of Dallas for beating those Bills 4 times in a row in the Super Bowl. But yeah, other than that, man, hey, y'all have fun. Y'all be safe, man. Y'all got some time to go move around, run a couple errands before you get real comfortable. The games don't come on until 2 o'clock today. And then other than that, man, y'all have fun. Y'all be safe. Tap back in with your dogs on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. And we'll find out who's going to the Super Bowl. Peace. Y'all be smooth.
That's right. Peace.